Ford versus Ferrari. Release date to theaters November 15th, 2019. Directed by James Mangold. Written by Jez Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, and Jason Keller. Starring Matt Damon, Christian Bale, John Bernthal, sorry, John. Catriona Balfe, I think, Tracy Letts, Josh Lucas, with stunt driving by Tanner Faust, and in a cameo playing the role of Dan Gurney is his youngest son, race car driver Alex Gurney.
Wow, didn't know that.
And I don't think he had a Gurney bubble on that Corvette he was driving, but that would have been super cool. Here's the movie preview right here.
How long we known each other, Ken? I ever break a promise to you? I will put you in the driver's seat at Le Mans. You just shut your mouth and let me do my thing. All right. Come here.
Morning, Shelby.
Morning, Molly. I'm yours. I'll go to hell.
And that's it, folks. Ferrari wins the 24 Hours of Le Mans for the 5th consecutive year.
Mr. Ford, Ferrari has a message for you, sir.
What did he say?
He said Ford makes ugly little cars in ugly factories. And, he called you fat, sir.
We're gonna bury Ferrari at Le Mans.
So the great Carroll Shelby is going to build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
And how long did you tell them you needed? 200 or 300 years?
90 days.
Ford hates guys like us because we're different.
Well, we heard he's difficult.
Ken? No, Ken's a puppy dog.
It's awful. There's a problem. The computer will find it.
Get some scotch tape and a ball of wool.
What are they doing?
Making your car faster.
That's more like it! Ken Miles is not a Ford man.
We're on the verge of something. And now you tell me that I can't have the best man in the world behind the wheel?
Give me one reason why I don't fire everyone starting with you.
Well, sir, we're lighter, we're faster. And that don't work, we're nastier.
Go ahead, Carroll. Go to war.
You got a plan? It's high risk.
I thought the whole point was to win the damned race.
If this were a beauty pageant, we just lost. Looks aren't everything.
There you go. Okay. Corndog, when I threw this one out last night, you said, I have never seen it. I'll need to watch it. And I did not text back, but I thought you are in for a treat. Like you are going to love it.
I was like, whoa, this is 2.5 hours long. I have to find some time.
It is long, but knowing you and knowing your love of just history,
mm-hmm.
I thought you would like this.
Yeah.
And it is so well made. And I will admit that I have not seen it start to finish since I saw it in the theater. And I did see it in the theater when it came out.
And I guess I forgot that it came out in 2019. I mean, that's what?
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, now we're talking, 7 years ago. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that old of a movie.
It doesn't, but it was filmed in 2018. I mean, it's nearly a decade old from a production standpoint. Bern, did you go rewatch the whole thing, stem to stern?
I've watched it twice. I watched it yesterday, and then I watched it again this afternoon.
It is a phenomenal movie, and I love doing these reviews because you go back and you appreciate things so much more. I remember that the first time I saw this, I went on like a Matt Damon bent. I watched everything Matt Damon was in. and it's kind of fun because I'll get to that in the review. Why there's a remarkable duo in here between Damon and Bale. The music is awesome. Marco Beltrami, Buck Sanders. Distributed by 20th Century Fox. Budget, $97.6 million. Total worldwide, $225.5 million. Domestically, though, just $118 million. So in the U.S., it made just a little bit more than it cost, and then it made the rest of it on its worldwide release. Here's the IMDb summary. American car designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles battle corporate interference and the laws of physics to build a revolutionary race car for Ford in order to defeat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966.
You need a little, when you say Le Mans.
Yeah, I still say it like Pontiac Le Mans.
I say Le Mans.
Le Mans.
But it's wrong.
As geek as you are and you do that, that's disappointing.
He also says Porsche.
Oh,
I do. Porsche. AI summary. According to Google Gemini, Ford v Ferrari, also known as Le Mans 66, tells the story of Ford Motor Company's determined effort to build a race car to beat Ferrari at the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans, focusing on automotive designer Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles, who overcome corporate politics and technical challenges to create the Ford GT40. It's a word diarrhea. That's the gist of it. Okay. Thank you, AI. We're almost there. Here's my summary. Burn a little summary music here. And I guess on video, I don't know if you hear this part, but I'm sure it's awesome. This is the story of Matt Damon, who I've been told I used to look like, playing the role of Carroll Shelby, a man just trying to run a business in the world of upside-down racing. A former military pilot turned race car driver and heart patient had to finally deal with the biggest F word on the planet. That's right, the F -- word.
Oh, fudge.
Ford. That's right. Because Henry Ford II wanted to go racing overseas. I lost it after my joke. Because Henry Ford II wanted to go racing overseas. And Henry Ford wanted to just buy Ferrari. And then Ferrari told Ford, you guessed it, the F word. The other F word. This is the story of Carroll Shelby and driver Ken Miles helping Ford take an existing program that had all the resources in the world, go racing, and win in racing. Because as Carroll Shelby said, you can buy speed, but you can't buy win. This movie is all about what it takes to buy a win, because the win is the will, and the will is the want to. And like Clay Millican, Carroll Shelby held the want to. This movie has no politics, no statements, no hidden agenda. It's just a great movie where we get to see Jason Bourne and Batman fight each other. 10 corn dogs. I loved it. Thoroughly loved it. So with that said, for you listeners and audiophiles here, and you too as well, if you're on this camp, if you are a Le Mans historian, a Carroll Shelby, Ken Miles, Henry Ford, Dan Beebe, if you know these people inside and out, I'm not your guy. I don't know them. I don't know all the inside facts about all of them. I do know from just working with Rick Schmidt on National Parts Depot, he has some problems with how Henry Ford is characterized in here, and Don Beebe as well. It's movie make believe. A little bit.
Don
Beebe.
He was the guy that kind of took over the racing program at the very end. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, he's the douchebag vice president.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what his name was on there.
It's movie make believe, right? I mean, you got to have a plot somewhere.
But I wonder how much of that was actually, kind of still true, because it's the higher ups. They're always going to have that little snooty attitude, in a way.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I come from a corporate background. I have been there, and I can tell you, this scene, this one little scene that is 2 minutes of your life, tells you everything you need to know about what it takes to make a race car working for Ford.
Give me one reason why I don't fire everyone associated with this abomination, starting with you.
Well, sir, I was thinking about that very question as I sat out there in your lovely waiting room. As I was sitting there, I watched that little red folder right there go through 4 pairs of hands before it got to you. Of course, that doesn't include the 22 or so other Ford employees who probably poked at it before it made its way up to the 19th floor. All due respect, sir, you can't win a race by committee. You need one man in charge. Now, the good news, as I see it, is that even with all the extra weight, we still managed to put old Mr. Ferrari exactly where we want him.
Did we?
Oh, yes.
Expand.
Well, sure, we haven't worked out how to corner yet, or stay cool, or stay on the ground, and a lot of stuff broke. In fact, the only thing that didn't break was the brakes. Hell, right now, we don't even know if our paint job will last a whole 24 hours. But our last lap, we clocked 218 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight. Now, in all his years of racing, old Enzo ain't never seen anything move that fast. And now he knows, without a doubt, we're faster than he is. Even with the wrong driver and all the committees. And that's what he's thinking about. He's sitting in Modena, Italy, right now. That man is scared to death that this year, you actually might be smart enough to start trusting me. So yeah, I'd say you got Ferrari exactly where you want him. You're welcome.
It's basically perfect.
Yeah. He even gives him a little slap in the face by saying, you know, he hopes that you're smart enough, you know, to trust one person.
Hope you figured this out. It's not that hard.
You're
I
welcome.
love that he's not intimidated by the president of the company in the wood office, you know, on the 19th floor. That means nothing to him because he walks in there knowing who he is, and what he's done. And you're basically wrong. I'm right.
That's the best definition of confidence right there.
It is very much, have you guys heard of EOS, entrepreneurial operating system, visionary and integrator type stuff? Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak from Apple. One's a visionary, one's an integrator. The pair have to go together. Carroll Shelby is a visionary, but he can't necessarily get things done. Like he can sell, but he can't deliver. And Ken Miles, at least as portrayed in here, he can deliver, but he can't sell.
Mm-hmm.
The two of them together can accomplish great things.
Yeah.
But apart, they're both just kind of, they're never going to be complete. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be full. And again, I think liberties are taken in here, but Carroll Shelby is a pretty known salesman. And he's portrayed all throughout the movie like he sells the same shell, like Cobra, 3 times to 3 different morons, and one of which is Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Forgot about McQueen. Yeah.
But this is the whole story of Ford versus Ferrari, and it takes advantage of some information in here that I never knew or understood why. And that was with the development of the GT40 itself. Prior to Shelby being involved, Shelby did not invent the GT40. He inherited it, and they made it better. But it was a company named Lola, a European company that Ford had already been working with the entire time. And when the car is introduced in the movie, which is so cool because they have all this SoCal, classic aviation in there. It's at the classic Shelby shop and on the airport. The TWA plane, an airline that doesn't even exist anymore, sitting there, and it's got he says the car's right in from Europe, fresh off the plane. And that car company is named Lola. And I know very little about the company Lola. I believe they still exist today. But do you guys know the history of the GT40 itself before we really dig through the movie review? Like its total history?
No.
I just know the designation. I know that it's GT for Grand Tour and 40 because of the height.
Yeah. It is the car that raced in whatever class it was. I don't know what the classes are. The 24 hours. Is it unlimited? Is that what they race in? Again, for all of you aficionados who actually know those series, we don't. We just like a good story with cool cars in it.
Comment. We're idiots. Yes.
Here's another reason I chose it. So at Meekum Kissimmee here in 2026, a record was set when the 1966 Ford GT40 factory lightweight rolled across the block. $12,375,000. A record. And then the record got broken. And then it got broken again. It got broke by Ferrari Enzo, and then it got broke by a 62 Ferrari 250 GTO Blanca, meaning white. $38.5 million. So, from a sales perspective, Ford did not beat Ferrari. But on the racetrack, they sure did. So, that was one more tie-in here. Let's talk about Ken Miles. Do you guys, other than this movie, know anything about Ken Miles?
No, I've heard the name, but that's about it.
Okay. Ken Miles, he was British. He was a sports car racing driver. And from everything that I've seen online with people that knew both Carroll and Ken, they did, in the movie, they're portrayed to have this almost like brotherly like relationship. And they were good friends, but brothers fight. And in this case, he said Ken was a lovely guy. He was the greatest. He worked hard. Everybody liked him. He and Carroll always got along.
They made him out to be like very temperamental in this movie.
Difficult.
Yeah.
It is how they categorize him. Ken Miles was born in 1918 in Sutton Coldfield, which was then Warwickshire, now a city in Birmingham. He was the son of Eric Miles and Clarice Jarvis. After a failed attempt to run away to the United States, Miles left school at the age of 15 to work as an apprentice at Wolseley Motors. They sent him to technical schools to broaden his knowledge of vehicle construction. He raced motorcycles before joining the British Army during World War II. And they give you some context that he had served in the war there in the movie. After the war, Miles raced Bugattis, Alfa Romeos, for the Vintage Sports Car Club. He then turned to a Ford F8 Fraser Nash. Miles moved from England to the U.S. and settled in Los Angeles as a service manager for Go Industries, the Southern California MG distributor. In 1953, he won 14 straight victories in SCCA racing and an MG-based special of his own design and construction. And from there, you can kind of get into the gist of it here. But in 1956, he raced John Van Newman's Porsche 550 Spider at most Cal Club SCCA events. Sounds like he raced against a novice driver named James Dean, who also had a Porsche. So, the dude had a history, and as you see in the movie, he was a wheelman. He did go Le Mans, and he did lay down the wood on people. He was 5 years ahead of the competition, including his teammates out there.
Yeah, and you could tell at least the way they portrayed it in the movie, he understood the mechanics of the car. And so he was able to, relay, hey, we need this, we need that. And so he knew what the car needed. So that helps a ton.
Well, he also knew what, Rob, you referred to many times is the heart of the car. You change everything on it except, how much can you change and it remains the old car that you had? Well, you can change almost all of it and it's still the same car, but you know what that car's limits are. And you're comfortable taking them there because you've been there so many times. You know you can go so many RPM before the valve float, or you can push it this hard before the brakes start fading, that kind of thing. He understood that as well, and that was a big part of how hard he could drive that car in the movie.
I don't know if you guys watched Jay Leno's Garage, but I was watching an old episode a while ago with a former colleague of Carroll and Ken's, and he was a kid. Carroll hired him. He knew them both, and he was the one who remembered Ken as a wonderful guy. And he said Ken was very gentle on the car at 200 miles an hour. Like, there are just some people who the car is alive, and they can feel that the car is alive. And it's almost like the car can feel that they're alive. There are just people who have it. And as cars get more and more modern and things get less and less mechanical, that'll probably go away. But back then, Ken Miles in 1960s technology was rocketing a car as fast as they do like now.
Yeah.
I mean, certain classes, which is just
I'm
amazing.
sure we'll talk about the sound more, but that's part of it. I love how mechanical everything sounds, how metallic everything sounds, and the shifting in the car itself as it's twisting and bending, how you hear that. It's the same thing in Finnegan's Blasphemy, when there's in-camera shots of him driving, how like that. I just adore that.
Yeah.
And they made a big point to point that out.
Henry Ford II wanted to race. This is the background history. Wanted to race a Ford at Le Mans since the early 1960s. In 1963, Ford reportedly received word through a European intermediary that Enzo Ferrari was interested in selling. Ford reportedly spent several $1 million in an audit of Ferrari factory assets and in legal negotiations, only to have Ferrari unilaterally cut off talks at a late stage due to disputes about the ability to direct open-wheel racing. Ferrari, who wanted to remain the sole operator of his company's motorsports division, was angered when he was told that he would not be allowed to race at the Indianapolis 500 again if the deal went through, since Ford fielded Lotus 29 cars with a new Ford Indy V8 engine and didn't want competition from Ferrari. Enzo cut the deal off out of spite, and Henry Ford II, enraged, directed his racing division to find a company that could build a Ferrari beater on the World Endurance Gran Turismo circuit. So that's true history. The movie doesn't quite make it like that. The movie portrays another famous person in the automotive world, Lee Iacocca. And at this time, Lee Iacocca isn't the guy that made the K car. Lee Iacocca is the guy that's trying to bring sexy to Ford. And that includes the Mustang, and that includes going racing. I do not know if it's true that Lee Iacocca is the one who brought Carroll Shelby in or not. I hope it is. Because it's awesome in the movie, but I have no idea if it's true. Do you guys know?
I don't.
Ford began negotiation with Lotus, Lola, and Cooper. Cooper had no experience in GT or prototype and experiences in Formula One. The Lola proposal was chosen since Lola had used a Ford V8 engine in its mid-engine Lola Mark VI, known as the Lola GT. It is one of the most advanced racing cars of the time, made a noted performance at Le Mans in 1963. And when you look at it, you will see the bones of a GT40. And that development is the backstory where the movie picks up. So the movie picks up where Ford is already basically underway. And that's the confusing part, because Ford's trying to buy Ferrari, but it seems like they are simultaneously working with Lola to develop their own car. That I will admit, as well as this movie is made, and I know that they cut these things for time, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
They just seemed to have a GT40, and it was an early one, but they just had it. And I didn't get that part. Bern, did you like that they used the radio broadcast for everything? Did you like that part?
I did like that. And I love the radio. The radio is very authentic. I've got one over here off camera where it's a AM band and shortwave band. And, you know, you can see the different bands on the radio face itself in Ken's shop. So very authentic, very cool. The sound is dead on to what it sounded like.
It is hard not to be romantic about this era, because so we all know, I mean, we're all around shop guys a lot, and we're around hot rodders a lot and racers a lot. In this era, everybody wore a button-up shirt and like good pants. They just don't do that anymore. I mean, we've become a lot more slobs in daily life, but everybody back then, even though it's in the movies, they got at least a polo shirt on or something like that.
Yeah. It looked like Sunday best, for any opportunity.
The goal of the movie is to tell the story from the launch of the GT40, assigning Shelby to it, getting Ken Miles to do it, and getting the car through its growing pains. Race cars do have growing pains. But once they get there in 66, they're rocking and rolling. And it stays that way for 4 years. I think they win 66 through 69.
Yeah, I think it showed in the ending credits, it kind of gives you what all happened from here. And I think they won 66 through 69, but did not win 68, maybe, I think.
Oh, is that right?
I want to say that's what it said, but I'm not 100%.
Here's my notes throughout the movie. And these are just random. I've taken to watching it and just taking notes on my phone as I go. I love when I love when Dan Gurney comes up on the pace laps with Ken Miles when it's Corvette versus Cobra. And he's just like chatting with him. He goes, "Hey, Ken, what's wrong with your windshield?" Like their windshield's all smashed from throwing a hammer at it.
New design.
I know there's a lot of movie make-believe in here, but I like all the Ford, office scenes where all the stiff suits are making all these terrible decisions and throwing their weight around. And they're basically morons. Who doesn't like a bunch of corporate morons? That makes you feel good. I like when it becomes very clear that Ferrari is not going to do it and how mad that the Italian actor gets. I think that's remarkable. I like when Carroll Shelby sells the same car to three people 3 times, one of which is Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I like that. He goes, "Oh man, I forgot about McQueen. Dang. All right." I've seen some behind the scenes filming where it has no explanation. They're just shots of the movie being shot. If that makes sense. It's like if you went there with your camcorder. And there's a scene where Carroll Shelby pulls up in a little Cobra 289 and he's going to recruit Ken Miles to come drive for him. And he just pulls up and he stops and he hops out. Well, in the scene where you watch it being filmed, that car pulls into a lot. There's lines on the ground and there's rubber stoppers up front. It's to put the car exactly on the mark. I just like those kind of details. I know that those are the kind of things that Corndog would dig.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, what is it? So it's like for continuity reasons, or
no? Nope, it's just so that when it pulls up, Matt Damon's visible through the windshield.
Oh,
it's just a shot trick. It's super cool.
How about, hey, hit your mark, done.
Matt, stop here. Well, he doesn't. He just hits the rubber stoppers. I love the scenes at the airport. I love vintage aviation. I love that they don't let it drop either. Like while the hangar door is open at Shelby, while Ken Miles is there working by himself, there's a TWA plate turning around in the background. You're it's just driving by. I love that they put the wool on the car.
Oh yeah.
And they just watch it through binoculars and they see like which one's standing up. That means that the air is shooting out through the car. That's a problem. I love a couple of lines that Matt Damon has to say. I have said those lines myself about dealing with corporate people and how much you've had to eat. I 100% understand that. I like that they make Henry Ford cry.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready, Shelby. Hit it. Attaboy.
I don't think it's true, but I love that they made Henry Ford cry.
Yeah, that was
when
kind
they take
of
him on the
odd to
bonsai
me.
ride.
It was kind of, an awkward moment, but
I think we've talked about that as we've talked about the show before, that was a piece of Hollywood that they put in there. We got that from somewhere. I can't know where it came from, but I do remember that. Good scene. That'd be cool if it did happen.
It would be great. I don't think it happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it happened.
but I do like the part where they, I've already forgotten the guy's name, where, he has a one-on-one conversation with him, walks him up to the office and locks him in there. And then,
BB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I would like to think that was, a true accurate event.
Isn't it funny how BB almost rhymes with Brut?
It does. How about that?
In context. Isn't that strange?
There you
go. I like when Ferrari is watching Ken Miles do hot laps and continue to better himself every lap. And then after Ferrari is beaten he stands there and he watches Ken do a couple more, and he says "Bellissimo," which is beautiful. Like, damn, that's great.
Giving
I
credit
wish that guy were
due.
driving for me. Yeah. And then one more neat little piece. While the 24 Hours of Le Mans is running, they have TVs on there. The TVs are real. That's real footage from the actual event, which is really neat.
I remember one piece of that. I remember that was on our TV. I can't call out a specific scene. I do remember that, or a car going through the camera like that on the TV screen. For some reason, I remember, and I didn't remember it until I saw it at the theater, and I saw them doing that. You know how that memory will just flash back sometimes
Deja
that
vu.
you remember. So,
I know I poke at your age here, Bern, but you were 6 years old when this came out. Were you even aware of it?
not aware of it, just remember, somewhere in my conscious that happening. Dad was a car guy, so I'm sure he saw it somewhere. Maybe it was on the news. Who knows? I don't know that they covered the race back then, but somehow I got that picture in my head.
That's what I was wondering. Would they have done full coverage of the 24 hours, or do you think they just picked up here and there and, maybe during prime time or something like that?
They didn't have cable, but they were stringing pieces of yarn with tin cans across the ocean.
Well, they had the teletype stuff. I wonder if what they were showing there was like, sometimes track will do an in-track closed caption.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. Here's some of the filming details on the movie itself. Oh, the ending of the movie. It is true. The cars came in together, 1, 2, 3. But if you watch the actual race, Ken Miles does not cross the finish line first. They did say that the cars were good enough and they tied, but then they went to the starting spot of who did get the win? Was it Bruce McLaren?
Mm-hmm.
His car was 2 spots down from Ken's when they started.
So he drove a further distance, which is bull crap. But yeah.
So if Ken had just not slowed down, he'd have clearly got the one, and he would have got the Triple Crown for Daytona, Sebring, and Le Mans. But there you go.
Yeah. See, like I mentioned, this is the first time I've watched this movie, and when the report was given to, hey, we want all 3 cars to cross the line at the same time, and everybody was pissed about it, and he goes out there and hops in the car and then puts another record-breaking lap down. I was thinking, okay, what he's going to do, he's actually going to lap his teammates, not really teammates, but the other Ford drivers, so that, they would be a lap down, but then, it would give them the photo they wanted of the finish of the race. So that's what I was thinking he was going to do, was go out there and just
finish one lap up on him.
Yeah, and do that. And then that way he's still guaranteed first place, and no one's going to, try to come in and take the spot from him. But, then he goes back.
That was confusing for me too, about how they handled that time compression, whether Ken did just slow down and wait, how Ken just did slow down and wait for them, or did he slow down and let them lap him again? That's a great point. I don't know how that actually happened.
The scenes where he's racing Ferrari and the Ferrari finally lets go is kind of magic.
Oh yeah, where they're going down the back stretch, or where
he gets so he goes, oh my God. He just knows, like, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh my! I have no competition now. It's over. I can put it on cruise and win this race.
Yeah.
And then he does, basically in the movie, he does a solid for his friend Carroll. Mm-hmm. That's what he does, because Ford had ordered this tie instead of an honest end to the race, and now my kids' races. I have mixed emotions about this. Like, do not lift.
Don't
ever.
Till you see the checkered.
You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, because
don't stop racing until it's over.
Right.
Yeah, one of those guys could easily just be, jealous and take advantage of it, and then they've got the win.
on road courses are certainly different, and this is a very, very, very large road course. But I mean, a caution in a circle track can change the outcome of things. I never stop racing, so that part to me is interesting. Here's some filming background on it. Filming began on July 30th, 2018, lasted for 67 days, taking place in California, New Orleans, Atlanta, Savannah, and Statesboro, Georgia, as well as Le Mans, France. Race scenes that appear in the film as Daytona were filmed at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Many other race scenes were filmed at Honda Test Track in Mojave Valley, on the Big Willow Road Course at Willow Springs, Road Atlanta, Grand Prize of America, Avenue, Savannah, Hutchison Island, and the Porsche Experience in Carson. That's kind of cool. A few scenes were filmed at tracks and roadways in Georgia, such as Highway 46 in Statesboro, Georgia. The Le Mans grandstands, pits, and garages were replicated at the Agua Dulce Air Park in Agua Dulce. The hangar area where the cars are parked originally, which is to play portray LAX, was filmed at Ontario International Airport in Ontario, California. I've been in and out of that airport a million times. It is an unremarkable looking airport. It's the Inland Empire Airport. And the fact that they did that there is super cool. Another piece of filming trivia about that airport, on The Office when Michael Scott flies out on his last episode.
Sure.
That's at the Ontario Airport. How about that? It's supposed to be Scranton, PA. Okay. I got one more piece for you. This is from, it's called the Eastside LA website. It's about the town where Ken Miles' house is supposed to be. It says, in Garvanza, rows of vintage cars filled the parking lot by the Hi-Ho Market. Universal Complete Auto Repairs and turned it into a 1960s era repair shop called Ken Miles Limited, and Christian Bale and Matt Damon staged a fight at the corner of Meridian Street and Avenue 63. Residents of Garvanza had a front row seat to these and other scenes when the cast and crew of Ford vs. Ferrari showed up in August 2018. How does a sleepy stretch of Meridian Street end up in a movie about high-octane racing? The director wanted a location where Miles' family could be shown across the street from the auto repair shop. That's why the filmmakers used a Craftsman-era home on Meridian across from Universal Complete Auto Repair. I looked up this address on Google Maps. It's there, and Ken Miles' house is blurred out, like the owner has had enough. They've blurred it out of Google Street View.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We ended up taking over an entire neighborhood in Highland Park and completely changing it to be a 1960s period era. There was a whole strip mall in the background with a grocery store and a laundromat. We also had to strip out a garage and completely gut the house they lived in. Since Ford versus Ferrari emerges the weekend box office with $31 million in sales, you can expect a lot of residents of Garvanza to visit. So that's cool. We haven't talked about the cars yet, and I'm not sure we can. They're all variants of GT40s, Cobras, replica Cobras, Corvettes, Porsches, Country Squire station wagons, pickup trucks, vintage trailers, like camper trailers, Airstreams. It is an endless treasure trove. And we look for stuff like this. I'm sure they have some incorrect period cars in there, but I didn't see any. Nothing stuck out.
Yeah, the only thing that stuck out to me, and the only reason I even spotted it was because I've seen a meme or a screenshot before. In the garage, Ken Miles's garage, at the very beginning of the movie, someone on the internet on the bench spots out an LS head sitting on the bench in the back.
Damn, really?
And took a screenshot of it and said, what's an LS head doing, here in the shop? But yeah, all of that. I always look for, like you said, something that's not correct based on the year, whether it be wheels or even like radial tires, like, BF Goodwrench radial TAs or something in the early 60s. But yeah, nothing really jumped out at me other than the head sitting on the bench.
Box Office Mojo. This was released in November of 2019. It was the 27th highest grossing movie of the year for 2019. 13th, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, #1 Avengers Endgame. You're not going to beat Avengers Endgame.